places. Say hi if you're watching me live. Welcome to this week's Monday morning style session. Okay, I'm just gonna go live on Facebook. Here we go. And go live on Instagram. So welcome, happy Monday. I think this is the first Monday in September that I've done this. Nope, second Monday in September. I feel like it's fall already. Maybe because I've been talking about fall so much in terms of fashion, but welcome. Okay, I'm so excited today to be talking to you about hair, specifically hair color. I feel like I opened up a can of worms with Friday's YouTube video. If you haven't watched that yet about the style secret that nobody talks about, we talk about hair color because hair color is so important and such a critical part of your look. So I'm going to take off my glasses. Well, they'll probably be on and off. So if you're wondering, why is this woman talking to me about hair when her hair is dripping wet? You know, some days are just like that. Some days are just like that. When you've had monsoon season all weekend and you've just been rained on over and over and over again, I had no choice but to wash my hair this morning. So it was either wet or poofy. So you got wet. Okay, so let's talk about the 5 things I think everyone should know about hair color as we get older, because hair color changes, everything changes as we get older. So my goal is to give you some ideas and some thoughts that will help you make the best decisions for your hair, because there is no one size fits all. And some of these strategies are going to work for you or are going to resonate with you, and others are just not. And that's totally fine. But if you take one good tip away and you really think about it in terms of how can my hair best match what I look like right now, because that's the goal of everything that we do. And that's the goal of styling and being a stylist. Good morning, everybody. Our hair needs to harmonize with us, just like our clothes need to harmonize with us. So let's get into it. The first thing about hair color is I talk a lot about how hair color in Friday's video about how hair color is really such a strong indicator of what your color type is, and how if you change your hair color, your color type can also change because hair color is so dominant. So what if you want to take hair color back and make it a little less dominant? What if you want your hair color to play a smaller role in what you are wearing? Why would you want that? What if you want to wear a color that you know is outside of your color type and you know doesn't typically work for you? For example, if I wanted to wear blush or I wanted to wear beige, 2 colors that truly make me look tired and sad, how would I pull that off? Or if maybe black is not your best color, but you wanted to wear black, you have something in black, you're excited about wearing it, how can you pull off wearing colors that don't suit you as well? One of the easiest ways to do that, one of the easiest little hacks, is to pull your hair back. Pull your hair back completely, like do a slick back bun or a slick back ponytail, like the kids are calling it these days, but really a nice tight bun or nice tight ponytail is going to be, it pulls your hair back from your face, and because your hair doesn't then appear to be the crown on the top of your head, it really minimizes the effect that your hair is going to have on your overall coloring, and it allows you to wear colors that you might not have been able to wear as easily, or you might not feel as confident in normally. So pulling your hair back can really change the way that your coloring appears. Now, there's a caveat for this. I obviously am not I don't have very light blonde hair, but a lot of blondes with very white blonde or light blonde hair feel like when they pull their hair back, it's just not their best look. Like it makes them look like they have no hair. So obviously you're going to have to tailor this to you, but for many women, pulling your hair back to wear a color that is typically outside of your color zone and typically isn't flattering for you. Okay, second thing I think everyone should know. If you're thinking of doing anything major with your hair, you need to start deep conditioning your hair now. Use a conditioner with protein in it. Use a conditioner that will build back the health of your hair, because one of the things that happens with our hair as we get older is that our hair dries out and it thins out and it gets brittle and it gets it's straw-like, and we've all experienced that. I just had a recent trim and I had to cut a lot of straw-like ends off of the ends of my hair because my hair got dry and it got brittle. And so, if you're planning on doing something major with your hair, a few weeks out, and truly we should be doing this all the time, but definitely a few weeks out, you need to be moisturizing and hydrating and doing deep conditioning treatments on your hair. Do hair masks, do protein building, products, minimize the amount of heat styling that you're doing on your hair. Do anything that you can do to restore the health of your hair before you do anything major with color. Now that can be anything from coloring your hair gray or to going back to what your hair color was. Anything that if you're doing anything where you're taking your hair far from where it currently is, you really want to make sure that you're doing a lot of like deep conditioning and deep hair coloring treatments in advance. I mean, hair care treatments in advance, because you want your hair to be as healthy as possible. Okay. Third thing I want to talk about. Now we're going to get into the nitty gritty of hair color. This is a controversial one. I want to know your thoughts in the comments. Should brunettes go lighter as they get older? Should brunettes go lighter as they get older? I want to hear your thoughts about this. I hear this all the time in the comments section of my videos. Your hair is too dark. Your hair is too dark. Obviously, my hair looks very dark now because it's wet, but should brunettes go lighter? In my opinion, and I have, as a former beauty editor, I did write a beauty book. I've interviewed hundreds of hairstylists and hair colorists. And this, at the end of the day, this is what they've all said, and this is what I strongly believe. The color that's closest to our natural color is going to be the most flattering color, even as we age. Now, that doesn't mean that our hair should be shoe polish blue-black, because that can be harsh and it can kind of detract a little bit of the glow that you'll get in your skin. But I think if your hair is naturally dark, and you're keeping your hair a color that's not gray, then your hair color should stay dark. If your hair is naturally light, your hair color should stay light. I'm going to get into that in a minute. But with brunettes, your hair should be a medium to dark chestnut brown. It should not, or medium to dark brown. It should not be a color that is, if your hair color was always in that middle zone, if your hair color was brownish, blondish, in that middle zone, absolutely, you can go a little lighter, you can go a little blonder. But if your hair was naturally really dark brown or black brown, as mine was, your hair color should stay dark. Again, you can go a shade lighter so it doesn't look blue-black, but it's going to stay dark. If you want to know what you're going to look like in a dramatically different color than the color that you were born with, try a wig. Try a wig and buy an inexpensive wig on Amazon and just try wearing it around the house for a few days. You're going to know whether a color that's a real departure from your natural hair color is even going to be something that you want to consider. Because I can tell you, I have worn blonde wigs. I went as Malibu Barbie for Halloween once with my husband, and I do not look good in a blonde wig. I do not look, I mean, and it's not just blonde, but anything even in the medium tone makes my skin look tired, makes me look older, makes me look washed out. So the color that we can wear well into our 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, as long as we want to wear it, is a color that is very close to our natural color. Again, you can lighten by a shade, a degree, a hair, so to speak, but you're not going to lighten it a lot. I do not think that it is flattering for most brunettes to go lighter, again, unless your hair was already in that blondish brownish zone. If you want to see a good illustration of this, and I feel so weird bringing up this person because she is absolutely stunning, but Angelina Jolie, who really, really looks stunning with her natural hair color, really dark, really just like beautiful on her, has lightened her hair recently, and I'm just not loving it. I just don't love it. I just don't love it. I feel like, oh my goodness, that dark hair just gave you that contrast and suited you so well. Is she still beautiful? Of course, because she's Angelina Jolie. But unless you really compensate a lot with makeup and with styling and with lighting, a color that far from your natural color is just not going to be your best friend. So look at someone like Demi Moore, who has very dark hair and is keeping her hair very dark. To me, much better look, much better choice. She looks stunning in that hair color, and it suits her. It's always suited her. It will always suit her. So as long as she wants to maintain that level of darkness, it's going to suit her and it's going to look great. Okay, so brunettes should not go blonde and blondes should not go brunette. I feel like really, the color that God gave us is the color that's going to look best on most of us most of the time. Okay, the next tip I'm going to say is unless you're deciding to go gray, and I'm going to cover that in the next tip, unless you're deciding to go all in and go gray, your best color is the color that's closest to your natural hair color, like the color that you have naturally. So the color that you had at 30 or at 40, that's your best hair color. That's the color that harmonizes the most with your skin tone. So either you go all in on that color or you're going to go all in on gray. I think that really changing our hair color dramatically takes a lot of work and often can mean adjusting everything else in our wardrobe. So it's always going to flatter your skin tone best. It's always going to look the most natural, and it's always going to look the most youthful to go with a color that's really, really close to your hair color. So I think that with blondes, warming up your blonde hair color a little bit as you get older can be really, really helpful. But in general, you want to stay in that same range within a couple of shades of the color that you've always had, because it's harder to work with a color that is far from your natural hair color. It's harder to work with that color. And I feel like my job as your stylist is to make things easy, not to complicate them. And if you change your hair color dramatically, you're going to have to change everything dramatically. So staying in that zone within a couple of shades will flatter you the most, will work with your wardrobe the best, and will be the easiest, frankly. It's just the easiest to get right. It's the easiest for it to be flattering. Okay, now, like I was saying with blondes, the problem that can sometimes happen with blondes is that we can get a little too ashy, where the blonde gets really, really cool. And so sometimes you're still staying in that same depth in terms of lightness to darkness. You're still staying in that same range, but warming up your hair color a little bit can add a nice glow to your skin and make you look healthier and fresher and more youthful. So you can definitely go a little bit more golden, but you do not want to go, in my opinion, significantly darker or significantly lighter than your natural color, because it really is going to be a lot of extra work. Okay, so staying close to your natural hair color, I've always said this, and it's true, I believe, at 30, at 40. There are very few women that look, I felt like Madonna back in the day could pull off really light hair and really dark hair really well. But of course, she had every advantage and every makeup artist helping her pull that off. But in general, I think most of us look best in a color closest to the color that God gave us. Okay, the final thing I want to say is, and I alluded to this in my video on Friday, I feel like we need to take a stand, put our stake in the ground and say, I'm going to go all in on gray, and I'm going to start pursuing being gray now, or I'm going to go all in on coloring my hair, and I'm going to commit to that now, because it's that in between. It's that in-between land that is really, really hard. Oh, I'm growing out my hair. Of course, you need to get the advice of your hairstylist and come up with a plan. But once you decide, I want to continue to color my hair, or I really want to go down I want to explore what it's going to look like for me to go gray, you need to have a consultation with your hairstylist, and you need to get a realistic look at what that's really going to look like, because they're both commitments. They're both commitments. Going gray is a commitment, and not going gray is a commitment. And so it's really what kind of process do you want that to look like? What can you handle in your actual life? Will you be able to handle the transition to gray, or will you be able to handle coloring your hair every 10 minutes for the rest of your life because your hair is dark like mine? So either way, it's a transition and it's a process, and you really want to get a realistic idea of what that looks like. And I feel like it's important to kind of decide, where am I going with my hair? Am I one of those people? My mom is 77 and is still coloring her hair. I plan to do the same. If you've decided, it's not for me, I'm definitely going to go gray, then this is the time to have that conversation with your stylist. This is also the time to be looking at your wardrobe and decide whether you need to make adjustments to your wardrobe based on your future gray hair. Because like I said in Friday's video, if your hair color changes, everything changes. And if you decide that you're going to go gray, you're going to want to adjust accordingly. And you may want to stay away from some of those warm, russet fall, autumnal colors, and take your wardrobe color palette in a cooler direction, because then you're not going to have to start all over in a couple of years when your hair goes silver or gray. So decide what you want to do, have that conversation with your hairstylist, but recognize that you want to go all in either way, and that whatever you choose, it's a commitment. It's a commitment. Feel like our hair is such an important part of how we feel about ourselves. I know it is for me. That's why I'm showing up with dripping wet hair today, because I know that wet hair is going to make me feel better than frizzy hair. Hair is an important part of how we look and how we feel. And so it's really important to get that piece right. And if you're not loving your hair lately, they can do so much more than they used to be able to make you love your color more, your texture more, the health of your hair more, the fullness of your hair more. There are even products right now that can really help restore color to hair that is graying. I have a whole catalog of those hair products, so I will link that below this video wherever they are. But brands like what's that brand that I talk about all the time that begins with a V? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on it. But there are a lot of brands that have hair vitamins and hair serums that are really designed to make your hair look healthier, more youthful, more vibrant, even restore the gray in your hair. So, and then there are vitamins and collagen supplements that can really help you restore the volume and the health of your hair. So, there's no reason to not love our hair in 2024 when there's so much at our disposal that is going to help our hair look and feel its best. I know what I was going to say. Vegamour. Vegamour is a brand that has a hair serum, and they have a Vegamour Ageless hair serum that is supposed to restore both volume and thickness to your hair, as well as help your hair stay its natural color. I don't know how that works. It's like magic. But it's supposed to really, really help. I have a lot of clients that have used Vegamour and have really loved the results, at least in terms of hair thinning and hair loss, have loved the results that way. So love to hear if there's anything that you've tried in the comments, because again, hair is a journey. I know hair thinning, I just really mostly talked about hair color in today's video. If you'd like me to do one on hair thinning, we can talk about that separately. And like I said, I do have a product catalog with some of the products that I've recommended and that have really worked for my clients. Clearly, thinning is not my problem, but graying is. My hair started graying in my early 30s. So I know what I'm talking about when I talk about hair maintenance. It's not something I have not experienced myself. So love you guys. Love to hear your thoughts on hair. Like I said, I think it's super, super important. And if our hair doesn't feel and look its best, we don't look our best and feel our best. So love you. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's Monday Morning Style Session. Let's continue our conversation about hair in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.